enough and more ground needs to be covered when we talk about IT, when we talk about sugar space. Of course, these have been the two buzzing themes that can take a lot of traction through the course of the day. Sugar stocks, of course, have been in the limelight for not good reasons for the last 1 week, but would the trend really make a difference now, or are they looking at a different trend? Let's bring in Sumit Jain, the Deputy CIO at ASK Investor Manager, to actually ask this question. Morning there.
Hi, Nikki.
I'm going
Good
to
morning.
start off with your assessment first on the IT stocks. Enough and more. These are particularly the sector which is not typically participated into the rally. Few concerns still exist for the sector. We're trying to find a bottom for these stocks where the recovery, resurgence could come back, but that's not likely found. And today you had a development back in the day that, Infosys CFO has resigned. Of course, the stock is also trading lower by as much as 0.75%. What do you make out of this development? Morgan Stanley, a few brokerages actually suggest the transition to be smooth. What do you make out of this development?
So, first of all, let me not comment into individual business that's against our organization policy. Having said that, the way we look at IT businesses is, in general, they get impacted too much by how globally things will play out. So, overall, in general, we don't believe those businesses to grow at a pretty phenomenal pace. Only those businesses which have a kind of right to win, or those businesses which are catering to specific areas, probably could be ER&D businesses. Those are the businesses where we believe growth rates can be relatively faster and for a relatively longer period of time. Otherwise, in general, our stance, our view on IT has been, we have been relatively underweight in that area, and we continue to remain so. Just because the longer term growth rates there would be suboptimal.
All right. Would you also want to just maybe not, it's not a recommendation, but how do you look at the overall development which per se has happened for Infosys? The change in the leadership, it's not new to Infosys. You think this is not really factored in much in the stock prices, and this knee-jerk sort of reaction, not a sharp knee-jerk reaction, but some amount of subdued reaction was kind of warranted for the counter?
So, see, we do not believe it's going to have a significant impact. In general, IT businesses, the depth of many of these businesses from management side is pretty large. And in general, when a business leader kind of moves out, we need to really see what is the shorter term impact. That's fine. But longer term, unless there is a seriously larger churn in the organization, we generally don't get too much worry.
All right. Apart from that, I'd also want to talk about SpiceJet. It's been something which has been quite in momentum and buzzing. For the last 3-4 sessions, we have seen a bit of development around the space where, the company plans to list on NSE. B, you also have the development where they talk about a couple of results now being announced, fund plan being raised for the company, approved by the board today in the board meeting. What do you make out of something like a SpiceJet and the valuation it kind of commands?
So, see, at the current juncture, we actually are pretty positive on the entire aviation space, or for that matter, the way travel itself is kind of playing out. Within that, this is a market which will mean that there are only few players who would really be winners, and that's the way it has played out globally as well. Uh, the profit pool is actually being shared by very few. Time and again, you will see quite a few companies trying to kind of shore up their balance sheet, because this is a business where if balance sheet is not very strong, your ability to come back will actually be very, very minuscule. So that's what SpiceJet is also trying to do, trying to shore up its balance sheet, come back to the business, uh, and tap the opportunity that's there. We really need to watch out for as to how things there play out, but pretty confident that this industry in general will be significantly bigger tomorrow. We have not seen significantly larger price competition in this industry. And also, while there may be some bits fares here and there, in general, we have seen fares only going up. The ability of this industry to really control cost also has been very large or very high. Over last 10 years, we have seen, I mean, the largest player kind of improving their uh, per kilometer per ASK profitability has also been very high. So to that extent, industry should do well. it's imperative for the players in this industry to shore up balance sheet and be a meaningful participant in this space. And that's what SpiceJet is also trying to do. So we'll have to see how this really plays out over a long period of time.
The next theme that I really want to chat about has also been buzzing, or let's just say a moment in place, so to say, sugar stocks. After the whole, at least last 1 week, we've seen some amount of correction which has already taken place after the government decision to discontinue the use of sugarcane juice or syrup for ethanol production during the year 2023-2024. Of course, there is also going to be an industry meet which will take place to discuss about this issue today, but there has been a back and forth in terms of clarification of which category can be used and which category cannot be. Within this space, do you like something? What's your assessment for sugar stock, especially in the run up to the general elections?
So see, what government has done at the current juncture is to really make sure that there has to be some control on sugar prices in the short period of time. And that is why we've seen this action. Having said that, we really believe ethanol is something which is a very large focus. While we may be at 12% blending rate at the current point in time, over period, we really believe that 20% is something that is kind of possible. And post that, we may see blending coming in diesel, or for that matter, coming in sustainable aviation fuel, and then at later point in time, flex fuel as well. So that's the path that we envisage for this industry. So what would this mean for sugar businesses is those who are kind of focused on the other side, on the ethanol as well, there the profit variability or profit volatility along with sugar cycle will come down, and that would have some implication on valuation over period. Shorter term, this may be negative. Markets may react uh, in a manner which may not be very conducive in the short period of time, but longer term, we really believe that the industry has an opportunity to make sure that their profitability volatility actually comes down.
I also wanted to chat with you about the overall trend for the markets, and especially FIIs. Thus far they've stayed away from the market. Sure, in the month of November, we saw some amount of buying come in select few sessions. But overall, in the run up to general elections, the trend that we've picked up in the last 4 general elections, FIIs have been the net buyers. Do you think that trend will replicate, and by virtue of that, you will see large cap come back in a big way as compared to the broader counterparts?
See, we again have a slightly different take here. Um, when we look at valuations at an index level, we believe that this is generalizing too much. Having said that, um, the kind of reaction of FII this time we have seen is more because of the confidence on sustainability of many of these policies or continuity of these policies is leading to this FII flows. So over period, um, we are pretty confident that FII flow into India will actually be significantly bigger as compared to what they are today. Um, in general, there is a flow into India that's expected away from many of the other, or probably from China as well. So to that extent, the pockets of growth globally are few. India is also relatively underrepresented in many parts of the world. So over period, FII flow into India is something that should happen.
And by virtue of that, you think large caps now would do better, and especially themes like Ritik will make a strong comeback, especially because what we've seen within the IT space, right? We're still trying to figure out if Infosys and TCS will make a comeback in a big way, at least in the run up to general elections, if not for, just at the start of the year.
I don't want to talk about run up necessarily to general election, because those market participant, as market participant, we look from one goal post to another goal post. Uh, Markets will, I mean, as businesses continue to deliver onto their business growth with capital efficiency, those businesses would actually continue to perform in the marketplace. Whether it is large cap, whether it is small cap, mid cap, markets won't differentiate that. Having said that, at the current point in time, in general, valuations of mid caps and small caps vis-a-vis large cap is at a decent premium as compared to what they used to be in the past. So to that extent, large cap may offer a relative safety, but but markets are going to be really, really bottom up as compared to these index based or index valuations that we kind of keep discussing.
Mr. Jain, what is the theme that you think looks interesting? Of course, we've spoken about enough and more themes when it comes to perhaps IT. We've spoken about sugar. Any theme that particularly is of great interest?
See, I think fortunately, India is a market where there are multiple opportunities to invest. While manufacturing may be one, and manufacturing encompasses multiple industries, capital goods, consumables, logistics, staffing. So that is one large area where India is coming up. Uh, Last 10 years, this theme may not have done well, barring last 2 years. But I believe this is an area which takes lot of time to kind of get into positive cycle. We are already starting to see benefits of that. I think over long period, this area and its allied areas will do well. Similarly, premium consumption, as India continues to grow at a much rapid pace, per capita GDP grows, um, the aspiration level of Indian consumer grows. We really believe premium consumption where penetration level is low, those businesses actually should do well. Then we believe pharma space where if you look at India's overall healthcare infrastructure, the infrastructure is still lot to be done there. Right? So quite a few businesses there should do well. So multiple areas I have still not completed all the areas that we are positive on. So I would think India offers a lot of opportunity.
Sure, Mr. Jain, with that perspective in mind, I'd also want to check with you with the lineup of IPOs that we've had, and now perhaps being one of the top leader when it comes to the number of IPOs size, just in terms of number of issues which have come up in this 2023. With that being at peak, do you think the valuations right now seem to be a little frothy given the kind of IPOs that we're seeing usually, which is seen at the peak level? What's your assessment, and anything that you like within the IPO space? There are 3 IPOs which typically open for subscription this week too. Inox India, you have India Shelter Finance and DOMS. Are you looking at any of those?
So see, if you look at valuations or rather IPOs in general, at least in the past, track record of many of the IPOs have not been great. In general, they come during when cycles are great, and over a long period of time, very few actually would be making money. So we have to be really focused on the kind of management that we are aligning ourselves with, the kind of strength that the business has, and not paying too much for those businesses. As markets keep moving up, obviously the task gets harder, but that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be good IPOs. In general, what we have seen is the kind of businesses that are coming to markets are a lot better as compared to what they have been in the past. Their business characteristics are also significantly superior. So we believe there will be some opportunities in the IPO market as well. I'll not get into specific businesses within the 3 that you are talking about that we would be positive, or rather we are positive on.
All right, Mr. Jain, we're just going to leave it at that and appreciate taking out the time.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting me in.
Pleasure. Pleasure is all ours. Well,
Thanks.
with this, it's a wrap and goodbye from the entire team who puts this piece together. Thank you so much for watching. Please do post your feedback for us in the comment section below. Follow us on the link at the bottom of your screen. And for the rest of the updates, stay tuned into moneycontrol.com and Moneycontrol app.